Have you ever stared at a map and just felt a little lost? I mean, it's a language we see literally everywhere, but how many of us are actually fluent in it? Well, today we are going to change all that. We are decoding the language of maps, and trust me, by the end of this, you are going to see the world in a completely new way.
So here's our game plan, our roadmap for today. We're going to start with the big picture, globes versus maps. Then we'll dive into all the different kinds of maps out there. After that, we'll break down the 3 absolute must-know skills for any map reader: understanding distance, direction, and of course, the secret language of symbols. And finally, we'll put it all together so you can look at any map and read it like a pro. All right, let's kick things off with something we've all spun around in a classroom: the globe. It's a fantastic model of our planet, sure, but it's got some pretty big limitations. Yeah? Right? It's kind of impossible. A globe is amazing for seeing the whole planet at once, continents, oceans, the big stuff. But when you actually need to get from point A to point B in your town, you're going to need a map. So think of it like this. A globe gives you the Earth in all its beautiful, round, 3D glory. A map basically takes a slice of that globe and flattens it out so you can zoom way in on the details that actually matter to you, whether that's a whole country or just your own neighborhood. But here's the catch. Have you ever tried to flatten out an orange peel? You can't do it without it ripping or stretching in weird ways. Well, that is the exact same challenge that map makers or cartographers face every single day. How do you take a round planet and put it on a flat piece of paper without messing it all up? And because maps are these flat, focused-in tools, you can design them for all sorts of specific jobs. They are incredibly versatile. You've basically got 3 main flavors of maps, and each one tells a different kind of story. Physical maps, they tell the story of the land itself, where the mountains are, how the rivers flow. Political maps tell the human story, where we've drawn our borders, built our cities. And then you have thematic maps, which can tell you almost anything, from rainfall patterns to the best pizza places in town. So, how in the world do you actually shrink a whole country down to a size that fits in your hand? The answer lies in the first and maybe most important rule of map language: scale. Scale is the absolute magic trick of map making. It's just a ratio, a simple bit of math that connects the tiny world on the paper to the huge world right outside your window. It's what turns a simple drawing into a powerful tool for measuring real-world distances. For example, let's look at this map of Sundarpur village. The scale here tells us that for every 1 centimeter you measure on the map, that equals 10 meters in real life. So if you took a ruler and measured the distance from the well to the tree, and it was, say, 5 centimeters, you'd know instantly the real distance is 50 meters. Simple as that. Okay, now this next part can feel a little backwards at first, so stick with me. A large-scale map actually shows a small area like a village, but with tons of detail. And a small-scale map, that shows a huge area, like a whole continent, but with way less detail. So just remember this: the larger the scale, the more you can see. Okay, so you've got your map, you understand the scale, but which way do you hold it? How do you know which way is up, down, left, or right in the real world? Easy. You look for the north line. Pretty much every map will have a little arrow somewhere, usually with the letter N on it. That is your anchor, your compass. Once you know where north is, figuring out everything else is a piece of cake. So from north, you can easily find the other 3 main directions, what we call the cardinal points: south, east, and west. And if you want to get even more specific, you can use the directions in between, like northeast or southwest. This is how we can pinpoint exactly where things are in relation to each other. All right, we've nailed distance and direction. Now for what I think is the most creative part of map language: the symbols. I mean, really think about it. How would you possibly draw a bridge and a forest and a post office on a tiny piece of a map without it just turning into a jumbled mess? You can't draw everything realistically, so cartographers came up with a really clever solution. And this right here is what makes maps a truly universal language. Because of an international agreement on what these symbols mean, it doesn't matter if you speak English or Japanese or Spanish, you can pick up a map from anywhere on Earth and get the gist of what's going on. It's pretty amazing. These are what we call conventional symbols, and they're basically the alphabet of map language. A PS means police station, PO is post office, and different kinds of lines show you different kinds of roads. It's a super smart, efficient way to pack a ton of information into a really small space. Okay, you have learned the grammar, the vocabulary, the whole shebang.
Now it's time to put all of these skills to the test. Let's see if we can read the story that this map of Sundarpur village is telling us.
Take a good look at the map. Find the river. You can see it snaking through the landscape. Now, using what you know about the north line and directions, which way is that river flowing?
If you said southwest, you absolutely nailed it. You can trace its path from the upper part of the map down towards the lower left. See, you're already reading maps.
All right, next challenge. Find the village of Dumri on the map. Now look closely at the symbol for the road that runs right alongside it. What is that symbol telling you?
That's right, it's a metalled road, which just means it's paved. This is a perfect example of how one tiny symbol can give you a really important piece of information about a place without having to write out a single word.
And this really gets to the core of what separates a map from, say, a sketch. You know, when your friend draws directions on a napkin for you? That's a sketch. It's based on memory, it's not to scale. A map is a precise scientific document. It is drawn to scale, and it shows you the real, actual distances between places.
So there you have it. You are now armed with the basic tools to read just about any map you come across. So here's my challenge to you. Go find a map of your own town, your own neighborhood. Now that you understand this language of distance, direction, and symbols, what new stories can you find about the place you call home? The world is full of them, and maps, well, maps are the key.